weeks of Down the Rabbit Hole. Feel like we're coming back earlier and earlier each week with a new episode, guys.
Too much stuff happening.
The new cycle's pumping out stuff, guys.
It is. It was only a couple of weeks ago that we had, I like to have a week off, right?
Yes.
There was nothing to talk about, but
it's ramping up
anymore.
It's ramping up.
Says, let there be so many news.
Maybe just because it's the lead up to Easter too.
Maybe.
Everyone just wants to get stuff out before a long weekend.
Mate, are you gonna get the crazy whiteboard out? The crazy
look, not today.
Wait, like this?
Not today. No,
it's this.
It's that. Not today, but we'll do a little recap and a little bit update of the situation.
Do we really need another Kate recap?
Exactly. We gotta.
I'll give people what they want.
Okay. All right. Let's start jumping in because we got a lot of stuff to get through. All right. We're going into tech first, especially with what Apple is planning to do.
Ooh, have you heard about this? Cue the sirens, guys, because this is pretty big if it happens.
Wee woo.
Cue the sirens because Apple is in talks with Google to integrate their Gemini AI engine in their iPhones. This is going to be massive. Like, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought these two, different houses?
Yeah.
I'm going to paint this as Romeo and Juliet style because that's all I got.
Not even Game of Thrones.
Yeah, true.
When you said houses, I was going to go Game of Thrones.
I'll paint.
I think all the tech sort of companies are like Game of Thrones. Honestly,
insert like an 8-bit version of
as a ringtone.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on it? Do you see it coming? Like, do you think it's a good thing? It's a bad thing? Because I've got some thoughts.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I'm it kind of, if I'm looking at it purely from a general punter who isn't following the the happenings of it and whatnot, you would think, okay, Google, Apple, two of the more more successful brands when it comes to user centric design and whatnot, that they have that in common, I guess, and they're gonna combine forces, and one is lacking the other,
like
and
Voltron.
one needs the other, so it happens.
Yeah, let's run with your oh my gosh, I forgot to put the timer on. Anyway, so let's run with your analogy.
See, that wouldn't happen if we had robots running this.
With your analogy of houses, right?
Yeah.
I find this really interesting because Apple and Google, they're just behemoths, right?
Mm.
When you think of Apple, you think of apex of physical. Show your iPhone. Apex of physical technology design. Everyone loves the idea of an iPhone. The Macs are beautiful. Everything about Apple screams quality, premium, etc., etc. When you think of Google, you think of their search engines, just software, really, right? To a degree, like what they've done there is amazing, and I think this is really interesting because, especially from an Apple perspective, because you'd think that Apple would want to take, and actually interesting news has happened where Apple is actually being sued by the Department of Justice. It just happened today for monopolistic practices. And I was going to cover that, but
here, like as in Australia,
no, in the US, but this is just a today thing. But anyway, I digress. So the interesting element here is why is this happening, and why is Apple kind of initiating this? Because it's been widely rumored in the market. It's not even rumored. Like, it's a known fact that Apple has said that they're actually have their own research division dedicated to creating AI, right? And the reason this is important is for a company such as Apple, you want to control as many elements as possible. Mm-hmm. They did that with the Massimo watch. They flexed their power here. And by combining powers with Google, they're effectively saying two things. They're saying, hey, we don't think we can do this better than you, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, they're actually acknowledging that Google and Gemini specifically has a better AI than whatever they're going to create, right? So this is really interesting because Apple has apparently, reportedly seen sales in their iPhone sluggish now, right? And we've had a chat about this when the new iPhone was coming out. What are you going to buy a new iPhone for? It's more or less the same thing, right?
Bum, bum.
It's more or less the same thing, but we now know that software is really going to be the next differentiation point, and specifically AI. And I think what Apple are doing, because they have been reportedly working on their version of AI, here's my view, right? Now that they've acknowledged that the Google Gemini engine is the better engine, and why would they assume that? So there's obviously OpenAI, which has a massive partnership with Microsoft. So potentially there's a blocker there.
No bueno.
But the other element is these AI engines are only as good as the data sources that train their models.
Yeah.
And we've got to acknowledge that whether we like it or not, Google has a monopoly on the best models that they can train it. Google search, Gmail, more importantly actually is YouTube, because the amount of content that's being generated by YouTube, that is audio, visual, everything, is just insane, right? So this will create basically an AI engine that'll be unparalleled. I think Apple have identified this. And basically, my hunch is the iPhone 16, which is happening in, I think, September, November, whenever, later in the year. What Apple has decided is like, you know what? Yes, we had a division on AI. Not that I don't see them ever turning that off. But I feel like for some reason, my hunch is that they really want the iPhone 16 to go with a bang. And the bang that they're working on is specifically on AI integration in there to boost the sales, because it's been pretty turbulent for Apple. I mean, you might have recently heard that they actually shut down the division that had tens of millions of dollars invested in this Apple car. I don't know if you heard about that, right?
Oh.
So that was a massive thing there. So I think Apple is at a phase where as much money as they have, kind of like Google as well. This is massive for Google, because Google with their woke AI thing, they've been like, at least from a press perspective, they've been copying an image beating. So to have a company the stature of Apple saying that, you know what, we think that we want to do strategic integration with you guys for AI, which is the buzzword now, is really impressive and a massive win for Satya and the Google team, and is going to see effectively the best hardware company, Apple, integrate and merge with the best software company, which is going to be scary, really, if you think
But
about it.
isn't like it's a weird strategy, right? If we're thinking about the greater landscape of, I know I'm clutching, right? Like I'm just trying to, like, I'm putting forth what I know to feed into this, right? Because Google has their own phone, right?
They do. It is interesting.
So it's just it's what used to be and still is, I think, the battle for the connected home, right? So, you know, you've got what's it, Alexa, like all the home beacons, thingy-mabobbos. And then it's interesting about what's happening with like the car situation and Apple moving out of that space, because whether it's like, you know, not the immediate priority, or it's too cluttered with, or it's even like the greater context of, you know, maybe we're just not there yet, right? But now it's coming to this space of the most immediate data heavy device that is used wherever, right? And I guess would like is by the extension of is the extension of everyone. So then when we're now being, I guess, challenged to understand how is AI going to be integrated into the day-to-day, be it work, be it home, whatever, then it kind of makes sense. But then it's just interesting the move if would be if, you know, you try and also peddle your own hardware and
You're right. That's actually a very good point. But just to put it out there, Apple and Google already have a strategic partnership in that the default browser or search engine in Apple products is Google. So they're already paying their money already there via that strategic integration. It's kind of that frenemies kind of vibe.
You'd rather have them in your line of sight.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think you're right. Like, and that's why I said, as these companies, as big as their stature is in their respective technology sectors, for them to come together on the optics perspective, you're like, yeah, it makes sense. Why not? But it's basically massive companies acknowledging that their competitor does one thing exceptionally better than yours, or it's better for me to divert my resources and understanding there. And for them to come together, because and then, like, obviously maybe next week we're going to talk about this whole monopoly case that's being brought about by Apple. But the fact of the matter is, if these are the two best companies there that kind of like, you know, chuck a Voltron and like assemble together there, you kind of
Chuck of Voltron?
you don't have Voltron?
It's an animated
90s,
series that's like
No, I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I heard you say
hardware.
no Voltron, and I thought Voltorb for some reason.
Pokemon.
Anyway.
Oh my god! Now I lost my chain of thought. But they're effectively acknowledging that together they're more powerful together, and you think that held up. This is not directly like monopolistic behavior, but at the same time,
It could be
it's kind of
encroaching
indirectly.
Yeah.
Like how as a small manufacturer would you ever compete with that? So maybe I could get a better hardware at a cheaper price point, but I'd never have Gemini or Google's AI on it. And you better believe, because Apple have done this in the past, where they've done stuff where if it's with Apple, then they're going to try and block Gemini from being in other phones or versions of it.
Yeah. There would have to be a rules, right?
Some clause.
Yeah.
Anyway, really interesting. Watch this space.
exactly. That's tech. That's tech for you.
Tick, tick.
There we go.
Tick.
Tick 9.
All right, nice. All right, we're moving on to one of our repeated sections, Vivek Watch.
sad chain of events from the last time that we covered it, but let's put in the violins. Let's it's
Yeah, exactly.
Vivek
Exactly.
Watch 2024.
All right, come on. Like so I feel like I've gone on the roller coaster that was Vivek Walsh. I really wish he was still in it. Obviously,
he was our money maker.
At one point, it was a single content cash cow. But anyway, look. Obviously, Vivek pulled out, and Trump is firmly in there. So it's Trump versus Biden now, and depending on what news outlet in America you tune in, it looks like people definitely hate Biden, but people also don't like Trump. It depends, but
it depends on where.
Yes.
It depends on where you are, what state you're from,
Exactly.
What you believe. I think in general, this election is a rock and a hard place. This upcoming election is.
I think so
the
too.
biggest
and then
rock
you've
and a
got
hard
Trump
place.
with all these legal issues, but we can go into that in another episode. But look, we got to talk about Vivek, because I think for us Vivek fans, we were holding on to the fact that he was gonna get, second in command. Like, this was the master plan. We talked about it as the master plan. Actually, I can reference an older video in the beginning where we said, look, this guy is not gonna win it. I don't care how good he is in talking like that. I don't care what he's got. He's definitely not going to get the manga vote, right? But he's doing it to get his popularity up and to be vice president, right? So he appealed kind of like to the Trump fan base. But alas, look, per Bloomberg, I'm going to read this verbatim. Donald Trump has ruled out Vivek Ramaswamy as his running mate and is instead eyeing the entrepreneur for a cabinet job. According to people familiar with the matter, as the Republican presidential nominee sizes up, possible VCs. Trump personally told Ramaswamy, can you imagine that chat? So he goes up.
Hey, Vivek.
Go.
Well, hold on. You got to give me content to work. You got to give me.
No, I'm just saying, we're flying the wall.
Vivek, I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity for us right now. And I think if you take this versus the other things, we will be great together.
Now, Donald. I have to appreciate the fact that you have thought about this in a comprehensive manner. But you've got to understand that I came in here with the understanding that I would be, at a bare minimum, second in charge. Look, I don't know whether...
Who told you that? I don't
Watch out, SNL. We just got a skit out here.
Okay, I'm so done.
End scene.
Listen. So my... What are your initial thoughts? Do we feel a bit sad about it? Do we ever felt like, being serious now, that Vivek had a shot at being VC?
No.
No.
I think a lot of people... Here's the thing. Vivek has this echo chamber of passionate supporters on the internet because he just appeals to that generation, right? Which is kind of like Gen Z, Gen Y. He talks very well. He's not of that, class. You'll definitely get almost every colored vote. You know what I mean? So these are the individuals that are on social media, on TikTok, on YouTube, that are commenting. Because if you looked at any Vivek GOP debate, 80% of the stuff was about Vivek. You were saying.
You got to remember the context that we're in.
Yeah.
I don't think people are still over Obama.
What do you mean by over Obama? As in they wanted him still there?
No, as in he did Obamacare was wrong and blah, 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 whatever. And of course it's going to come back to, this is a broad statement, right? But it's just, we don't need any of the colored folk in there for now. We've
Oh,
had too
come
many colored
on.
folk
No,
in
that-
there, right?
Like
That-
there's
yeah.
But
there's definitely an element of that.
But
Yes.
the flip side to that, I reckon I think he's in it for the long haul, right?
yes.
Based on the generational vote that's here, he's got to sow the seeds for maybe, like two terms
Yeah.
from now,
yeah.
Yeah.
where he might have a better shot at it.
Here's the thing, right? No,
Now that just depends on whether he has the vigor to continue.
or
Because
want
he's
to.
still relatively younger than
Yeah.
the others.
He's younger, but the other thing as well is he'll make exceptionally less money doing this than he would because he's an owner, he's an entrepreneur, right? He's like that's the other thing, right?
Well,
Not that it's about money.
Oh,
but
yeah, true. Because then you'd have to
You'd have to
forego-
commit yourself.
Yeah.
But
Unless you just
let's just play out. So Trump, I don't know if you.
you like my investment move is just like
Trickle.
just trickle it and then just
Yeah.
let it come through different ways and trust and I don't know.
I don't
ways.
I don't know if you recall, but Trump is a guy that clearly likes the spotlight, obviously, right?
No shit.
That's
So-
brand new information.
Just putting it out, just putting it out there. But when Vivek acknowledged pretty early on that he was pulling out, and he came in, he did this whole public spectacle, shook Trump's hand, like all of them that bowed out kind of did that. Actually, not all of them, but definitely Vivek did that. You could see in Trump's eyes, like when Vivek went in and he just he started going for it. He talked so eloquently. He got all the cheers. And I'm not, basically it's been said that he doesn't want the VC to be someone that overshadows, VP, sorry, to be someone that overshadows him. And I think you get a little bit of that element with
course.
Vivek.
Yeah.
Simply because there's such a contrast. The thing is, with the current candidates that we have on both sides, Vivek would outshine them in a debate or anything, which is a very American thing at the moment. They're a lot of things are based on how you can, orate for pretty naturally, right?
If there's one thing that, Trump can put on his
Toupee.
that,
It's a good toupee.
that
shocking
at
toupee.
least he's aware of
Yeah.
is that you got to make sure that you don't make yourself look more like an idiot in comparison to, competence around you.
Yes. Yeah.
So look, apparently Homeland Secretary, like that's where they're considering him there, because apparently he excels at public speaking and as an Indian American son of an immigrant, could neutralize criticisms of sweeping immigration restrictions. I think that'd be interesting. I don't know if, if you're Vivek, you have to take it. Surely, I don't know. It's intriguing.
That's on the table for him. Yeah.
So these are apparently
You need something. You need some credentials.
I do think you need-
probably considering his background as well.
Yeah.
It probably is worthwhile
makes
to get
sense, right?
some sort of reps up to make
Yeah.
sure that he can show that he knows what he's talking about outside of the I guess idealistic or
So look, yeah.
point of view.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And to hammer on that point, Donald, I don't know why. I beg you just to reconsider, because apparently, per Bloomberg, these are your criterias for a VC, right?
VP.
VP.
Why do I keep saying VC?
Because
it's a
you-
venture
yeah,
capitalist.
yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
I get it. I even wrote VC. Anyway, one is he has to share the same ideologies as Donald Trump. Mate, he loves burning fuel, just like you. I mean, you guys are shoe in hand fit. You're both businessmen, all
A
right?
shoe in hand.
Yeah, shoe in hand in shoe, hand in fit, whatever.
Hand in glove.
Number two, he must bring something different to the campaign. Have you seen his color? Have you seen the way he talks? He's different, all right? He's going to probably bring a bit of a younger audience and a younger base there. And number three, unwavering allegiance to Donald Trump. Well, obviously, I think this is where this bit was always a little bit tricky, because when there were all the guys that were debating with him had to kind of go against him. But Vivek's stance was very not neutral, but I think it was very deliberate in the way he would say that he thought that Donald Trump was a good president, but so and so, this is why he would be a better one.
You'd rather want someone who kind of, it's like sucking ass, but not sounding too
wrong.
not sounding too smart about
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah.
this is too polished. I don't like it. I don't get it.
He's too good with his
So
words.
look, potential
He's too good with his words.
He is. Potential VP candidates include South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. Why?
Who dat?
he was in the GOP debate. He's like the pastor-ish kind of guy. Anyway, no, please no. Governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem. I think I'm going to butcher that.
Who dat?
None that you're not unless you're really into politics. Neither am I, by the way. Rising star chair of House Republican Congress, Elise Stefanik. And the wild card that you both know, Tucker Carlson. Just to
my gosh.
Put it out there. You heard it here. Just to
He's got great relations with Putin. Love him.
Just saying. I actually can't wait for the election, to be honest. I think we're going to be covering a lot. Anyway, that's done. Vivek Watch. We're going to officially close it here, and I'm sad.
It's been a fun segment for us, but
Goodbye, Vivek.
We're having too much fun with that with that bit. SNL, ring us up. We got it locked in. Okay. All right, let's jump into entertainment, especially because on Tuesday we had the recent finale of Australian Survivor, aka the Superior, the copyright, the Superior Survivor. Let's be real, come at us, US Survivor.
So very quickly before we jump into all of this, and I am a diehard Survivor fan. I had watched all of the American seasons, and then Australia had its own version, and it wasn't great. But then it came back with a vengeance when it was done right. And I remember when you were watching a couple of seasons ago, when we were watching it, and it just feels like the production value
So much better.
is
So much better.
superior in Australia, not just because it's native to us and we appreciate the humor, the angles, what they're going for and whatnot.
Yes.
But I've seen the latest, watched a couple of episodes of the latest season of the US one, and this is what I have a problem with. Very quickly, sorry, Kat.
Yeah.
The US one.
But the amount of twists and turns that they've tried to implement to evolve the game, first and foremost. The second thing.
That's not a bad thing, though. Innovation's good.
It can be.
The
It
rate,
loses it, right?
the
Yeah.
rate is too
It's
fast.
suffocating also.
And it's like there's now 3 tribes and like, I can't even articulate at the moment because I just blocked it out of my head and I don't like it. The second thing is that maybe there's many examples of this. There's Survivor, there's Kitchen Nightmares, the US version where they've
Kitchen Nightmares is good, though, the US version.
but they've just sensationalized it to the point where it's formulaic, where they just want the argument, the conflict, and then it's just this. It's a weird cadence, right? Whereas Australians, you gotta love it. The mateship, it's the fair gameplay of it all. It's the diversity as well.
Yes.
And just some of the funniest, randomest
moments that happen.
that have happened, and it's just how and they're just being themselves,
Exactly.
but it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So this past season, the 9th season overall, which is pretty amazing that we've gotten to 9 seasons.
I should have gotten my buff.
Tribals, Titans versus Rebels. Strong out of the gate in general, this season has just been amazing because it's it was less amateur play, I would feel.
Yes.
A lot of the people came to play it, and I've obviously seen the show. They know how to tackle this. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some people that were pretty amateurish, but that's part of the fun as well.
The strategy coming in, the awareness of, I don't for example, Kirby not wanting to showcase her ability that would then exemplify her as a major threat.
Challenge beast, yeah.
There's the social relationships piece where the likes of, you'll have somebody like Kelly who is a psychologist.
Yes.
Who would understand people, but then you're also grating people. So you thought you'd have a sense of awareness, and then it's very interesting, the layered. There was multiple threats too, but then they got taken out so early.
Especially how we were shocked that a lot of the strength players got taken out quite early.
Very early, yeah.
This season was they didn't come to play. These are people who want more of the strategic people in there, or are all rounders instead of just the muscle.
Or yeah, you get the it felt like the ones that were muscle but had some level of strategic play were taken out early.
Yes.
And then the likes of, you know what, bless up Southwest Sydney, Jaden, like for you to get that far is freaking awesome on the base of your merit as a person.
Yes.
And, you know, pulling some of the moves when you had the opportunity to.
Yes.
But then it's also that instance of, you know, who gets taken along, like who
becomes a number. Yeah. Yeah, it was truly like good on Jaden because it's like I thought he would have been gone pre-merge because they
Pre-merge,
usually
yeah.
take out the big players before merge, but he was posing as just like just tell me the plan.
Tell me the plan. I will make sure that you eat well because, you know, we can't take for granted the home what you call it, the chores that need to take place.
The rice and the beans.
Yeah.
And him lifting the tribe in his gym, you know.
But then also like just some of the surely if you're like a player at that point of time, right, you have to like you probably start guessing like what's the type of challenges that come through.
Surely.
Like, because it's as soon as you get into merge, you get to this point where it's like, okay, so there's gonna be some like it's probably more endurance.
Yeah.
If
especially for
anything.
individuals.
There is a bit of like puzzles that would need to happen. So you know you pull your people when like those types of people when you can to help get you through. But
and peak at certain challenges
Yeah.
when you can. But yeah, just quickly going through. So the final 5 that started the final week. So it was Kirby, Mark, Caroline, Raymond, and Ferris. So we saw Kirby leave on Sunday, which
was so convinced.
in a very heartbreaking like move, but Ferris had to do it,
I was so convinced they were going to be the final 2.
which would have been an
The
epic
edit
showdown.
made it feel that way. They were the righteous ones to come
The
through.
chosen ones.
But you gotta, I guess, yeah, you gotta put it to Ferris, where very strategically played that to a T of flipping the optics of that move.
Yes.
And it's you know, because many a times where people have decided to make, you know, bold agreements to see, like, I'll take you to, you know, the final 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of like, I know I'm jumping to it, but Ferris's game was exceptional
Absolutely.
to the point where you have to have the game, you have the game, and then you have the relationships component.
Oh yes.
right.
Yes.
And also truly the way, like he said, you have to back myself. Like that was chef's kiss. It was like, how can you say no to that?
Yes.
And
that tribal, we were just like, but it's good stuff, good content. You guys have to watch it.
yeah.
And then when it came to the final 4, Raymond went out in a fire making challenge because that was a pretty brutal tribal council as well, where they were just pummeling on Ferris's game, which is a good tactic from Mark. Honestly,
Good on Barry's Mark. So Kev, just so that you're still engaged and interested in this chat, there's this guy named Mark, and he's a former diplomat, but legitimately
Creme diplomat.
yeah, sure. Like, I guess keeping in line with Game of Thrones style, he legit looks like Varys. Remember Varys, the
bald guy,
the bald guy
Oh,
that
yes,
was
yes,
the
yes,
advisor to who? Cersei?
Daenerys.
Just putting it out
sorry,
there.
Daenerys.
That's what a creme diplomat.
Okay.
I don't think you're quite.
Let's put that in post.
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
I'm hungry again. But
I mean, if you look like very, it
Yeah,
does look like a creme diplomat.
Mark as well had a very exceptional game too throughout.
it's just that he got caught in the shit sandwich of the mafia,
The middle-aged mafia.
the middle-aged mafia, like.
And he kind of took a backseat after merge, like I felt.
Yeah.
So like he had to tone down to be like, okay, I'm just here to.
Well, and then it's
make a
also because
number.
Rebels then came strong, and then yeah, you have to make sure you've got your allies in play. But then
Exactly.
who's your when do you take out your what is it? The
shields.
yeah no the hold on, what's the phrase? The the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So it's like that thing of like, okay, so do you stick with the rebels and take out your Titan people, or do you stick with your day ones?
Yes.
Even though, you know,
Yes,
like
exactly.
it's just so
The
interesting.
things to consider
Yeah.
in that game, honestly. And then, of course, final three, Mark ended up leaving, which honestly was probably the best choice.
Best choice.
That Ferris voted him off.
Without a doubt.
He would have been incredible in the pitching,
100%.
honestly. But again, like, credits to Mark. He was very much like, he was consistent throughout the show. And so he kind of took us by surprise, I guess, when we started being like, oh, wow, the moves he's making, the invisible hand, very good stuff. And then, of course, came down to the final two, Caroline and Ferris. But Ferris, of course, won. Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
All 9 votes. Which,
I love
which is very deserving.
I love a game where, regardless of your interactions with the player who you probably would not have thought to have voted for,
Yes.
is pushed aside, and you're basing it on the merit of how they played it, what moves did they make.
Mm-hmm.
You love to see it.
Exactly. So, otherwise, that concluded like a very, just a phenomenal season.
Considering that it's also new people, right?
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
I think that's the other thing where...
Because we had back-to-back seasons where returning players came back, which was like, it's fine. But it's like, we needed some fresh blood, needed some new icons, which we certainly got this season. A lot of people were saying that this season was better than last season's, which I could say, honestly, yeah. Especially...
the amount of... bless you.
Yes, thank you.
The amount of blindsides.
Every tribal, no one played an idol right.
Yeah, no one played an idol right. Yeah, it was pretty dynamic, put it that way.
To wrap this up, I remember you saying that your friend was just throwing out the question, should we apply? Look, if they come back with blood versus water, I'll do it with you.
And then
you have to wear a shirt though to get the channel up.
And then we gotta be strong on the social game. We gotta help around the house. We are legitimate good puzzle people.
Yes.
In the challenges, and we'll try our best in everything. It's just that we just need some floaty devices to help us.
Or fucked in the challenges, really.
Or you sit out. Hopefully, you can sit out the challenges. Like I think I could be fine in swimming challenges. I'm just not the fastest swimmer, but yeah. Otherwise, blood versus water, Channel 10. If you do it like a couple years from now, we'll consider it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, goodness gracious. All right, well that's been entertainment. We'd love to see it. Because, well, now that it's post-Survivor, we're waiting on MasterChef next. So you'll be expecting to hear us talking about that when it comes back on. I think
she's in it.
Sometime after Easter. It's like
I think I'm going to be done
in
with
May, I
this.
think. Gosh. Okay. All right. We're completing the gauntlet with all the topics. Dipping into sports.
Sports.
Sports. Pew, pew,
Sports.
pew.
We're back at the NRL, man. Latrell. So what's going on? Latrell Mitchell is at it again. Controversial NRL figure Latrell Mitchell is at it again, dropping multiple F-bombs in an interview after the game when the Bunnies lost to the Broncos. So this is kind of blown up in social media and the sphere. Here's the thing. I've seen the video. It wasn't a very memorable video, but I tried to get it. I tried to find it to actually show it to you before so you can get a view, but it's been blacklisted. It's taken off the internet completely. You cannot get this video at all.
That's some interesting moves by the NRL. Just taking a page from the
British media,
the Royal Palace, I would say.
So just to paint the picture, like I said, I can't really remember it, but the bit that people are going over in arms are two elements. One is, look, so the Bunnies are off like 2-0 at the moment. They lost to the Broncos, and this is when the interview happened after. Two things that happened. One, it's a pretty disappointing loss to the Bunnies, and it continues a disappointing back end of last year. So they're just under the pump. And Latrell, in his responses, he basically kept chucking the F-bomb, right? Like you know when you hear like, Jesus, this is terrible. Like a bogan, like just,
fucking.
Yeah, every second word is an F-bomb, right? So that's the vibe that I can paint.
Today's the episode of impersonations.
And there was one point where he actually like heard himself speak. Not that he didn't, but he said, "Look, I know I'm swearing, but I don't care about it, right? He literally said that more or less verbatim, right?
Where's the media training here? Was this shown on? Sorry,
It was not shown on live TV, but Triple M did it, and then like obviously this is like stuff like this. The thing with Latrell is he's very controversial. I don't know if you know about Latrell Mitchell, but in the Ezra Mam thing, so like he spoke up very highly for Ezra Mam. He's constantly in the news. Latrell Mitchell is basically quite controversial in the NRL sphere for a couple of things. One is he speaks highly for Aboriginal rights, which is like a good thing. But he's very brash, let's call it there. So that what that means is because the media can count on him to say stuff about that, he'll can't always be there in the news sphere. But the second element about Latrell is he's seen as a little bit of an underachiever. He could actually, when he's at his best, Latrell is probably like the top 5 best players in the NRL in his entirety, right? But there is an element of underachievement about him. And I think the other element that actually didn't really work in Latrell's favor in this interview is he had just reached a milestone of scoring 100 tries in the NRL, which only a select few individuals do that, right? So after this
Great achievement, yeah.
Great achievement. But after this F-bomb laden interview, he went on to say, you know what? I scored 100 tries. That's really good. It's a good achievement. And people were saying, dude, your team just lost. You're under pressure. Why are you making this about yourself, right? So a couple of things here. One is Latrell Mitchell out of control? And just a couple of elements here. The NRL, off the back of this, actually has told Triple M to stop filming interviews after the game. They've gone out of their way to do this, which is pretty big if you think about it, for one player to set a precedent like that. Secondly, the chief executive of the NRL, Andrew Obbo, had a meeting with Latrell to speak about this, which is a pretty big thing if you think about it. Like, it's not the first time that you'd expect a footy player to chuck an F-bomb. Again, he did multiple times, but is this blown out of proportion, or is Latrell Mitchell out of control, or what Phil Gill said, he's not respecting the game? And a lot of ex-players have fired up and said this element that he's not respectful of the game. He's a role model, like it or not. People look up to you.
That's the thing. Aboriginal
kids look up to you specifically.
That's the
thing. If they're hearing their idol chuck F-bombs like it's part of like Australian vernacular, pardon my French, it's not a good look for the league and him. What are your initial thoughts?
There is a responsibility that you have with the certain status that you... Is that it?
It is, but they've superimposed the image, the audio. That's not the actual audio.
Oh, is it?
So what I mean is, again, the NRL has gone out of their way to blacklist it. They've taken it out. That's insane. Like, how that does not happen often. That's a lot of effort.
It's because it's okay. If I was him, right? So he's thinking like, oh, I'm trying to be myself. Like, don't censor me. You know,
I don't want to be a role model.
Like, well, you don't. I think with that position that you have, if you're an elite superstar that people will idolize, you have no agency or choice. Like, that is just bestowed on you.
Yeah.
Because people will follow what they deem to be gods on earth, right? Where they're just really talented. And I think this is where the corporate side comes into play. If I was NRL, that is they
That's the image of the game, right?
Yeah, they're trying to now, you know, for lack of a better phrase, try to, you know, wrangle it to a point where it's, you know, they're trying to mitigate a lot of risk that's coming from it.
The image, right?
And because it will impact them in light of what's like with what's happened with the the launch in the US.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's a bit like, I would think that they would think like, you know, oh, we might have more eyeballs put on us. We don't want people like to think that, you know, our players are like this, you know, like there's a sense of, respect the game as a general punter, like just like, you know, that is just viewing it. I think that's a bit too much, but I do get this. I do agree with the sentiment that if you're like, you're in profile, you're in the public. There is certain, this is why I say, where's the media training? Because regardless or not, there's still like, we're not saying don't be yourself, right? But there is work hours.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing in, you know,
that you have to be presented, you have to be perceived in a particular way.
Yeah. Because that equals trust, that equals credibility, that equals a whole myriad of goodwill.
Yes.
Right? So then when you start heading into this road, it's a question on your character, which, as I say that seems extreme, but that's how fickle that is how fickle the general public can be based on, I guess, again, it's the first impressions and perception that people have, right?
Yeah, Latrell, whether you like it or not, you've kind of eroded that equity that you've had with the NRL and the NRL fan base. And a lot of it is unfairly bestowed upon you. But a lot of it is actually within your realm of control. And I think this is what's happened. When you are the boy that cries wolf a couple of times and you constantly speak up, I mean, there's part of me that thinks that the media should know better as well, mate. You know that guy's going to... Why are you sticking a microphone on him? But the other element is you're like a superstar of the game, and unfortunately that is part and parcel of the territory. So you should be mature enough to ensure that your character is not assassinated or that you're giving elements of that. But yeah, I think the backlash is there for a couple of reasons. One is ex-players and people within the footy community saying that you're a representative of the game, dude. There's no way you should be talking about that.
They probably...
You're a role model. People look up for you.
They probably got the same speech when they were playing, right? So it's like this, the brotherhood of, trying to be like, come on, man, pull your neck in, that type of thing.
And secondly, which is the other interesting element, he is like an Anthony Mundine sort of character. He is, right? Let's just say it what it is. So there'll be always an element that'll want to not silence, but... I think we know what I'm trying to say here, right? Trying to silence basically conversations of that manner. So here's the thing, Latrell. You stand for something that's actually really important and you're a representative of your people. Don't put yourself in any situation where when you finally come out to say things that really matter and of your heart, that your character is already compromised. Because unfortunately, this is where we're seeing ourselves here.
It's all supposed to be about advancing things forward, right? If you believe, if for the greater good that you're standing for, and this, I'm talking about this figuratively now, any person who believes in the greater good and there's this advantage and trying to lift their people up and stuff. It's about advancing people forward and not getting pulled back into either this rhetoric or this story that has been told constantly that bogs people down. I think that's I will say, just to close it off here, there is a part of me that's very empathetic, Latrell, and I see this with, let's just call it players of color that are thrust in the spotlight very young. And I told you this about Selwyn Cobbo, where the guy's so young, he is not media trained, he's not articulate in his words just yet, and he constantly gets the mic rammed on him because he's a superstar. Media out there, pick on that. You guys are not idiots. You can tell whether a guy is uncomfortable on the mic. I'm not saying don't put it out there, but we need to help everyone as a whole, right? There's elements of that's the time of day that's telling me to end. But we definitely need to help our people there. So don't lead them down narratives. In this case, it was Latrell's fault, just putting it out there. But I'm just saying that there is a narrative here where we need to build each other up and putting people in positions to fail, even if it's not directly, manufactured or meant to be there, is not a good thing. And please leave Cobbo alone or interview him with other people. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to do it, but let's represent him well, because players will mature. Anyway, there's other measures that happen, right? It's the organization to support them in that space. It is that equal rotation, because I guess that's the other thing, right? You want to hear the stars about what they think about the game, how the game went and all of that stuff. But then it's, how do you raise all the people?
Whoever thought that the beginning of the year we'd have so much NRL discussion?
It's popping. It's popping. It's popping.
Yo.
Alrighty. All right, let's kick in with another round of random rapid fire roundup.
This rapid fire's done good. I think it's
it's a fun little segment we like to do.
Yeah.
All right, we'll kick it off over to Kev regarding Reese Walsh.
Okay, I got something to say, man. I got to get this out of my chest.
So we're not out of sport yet.
No, we're not out of sport yet.
Yeah, we're still in sport.
Taylor May, what the man? Like
Whoa,
I'm not,
easy,
seriously,
easy.
I'm not gonna not go easier. Well, you did not try to tackle him. I don't care if it's footy. I don't care if it's a contact sport. The replays will clearly show you went there with an intention to knock Reese out. And by the way, this is not a Taylor May thing. This is not a Penrith Panthers team. I'm a biased Broncos supporter, so there'll be a level of bias there. But every team tries to nail him. I would do the same thing if I was in opposition of him. He's the best attacking player in the competition. But dude, there is a point of time where you go overboard and go reckless, and you fractured the guy's face, right? Fractured his face.
Look what they did to my beautiful
So
boy.
not only did we get freaking flogged, all right, now we're gonna lose him for 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
Dude, he's got a fractured face, dude. All right, this is a contact sport. Yes, really, and it's a low blow, and if anything, he should be suspended because that's reckless. I don't care if it's footy.
Has it been put on report?
It's been put on report, but whatever, man. I'm fuming about this. I'm done. I'm out.
Kev is irate.
4 to 6 weeks, man. Could be our season there. It actually could be our season.
Oof. That's a big hit. That's a big hit.
King hit.
Literally and all right. Let's pivot over to Kate Watch, actually.
I don't know how to follow that.
We're going to simmer down a bit.
Okay, well, are we going to simmer down or are we going to get hot once again? I don't have my board with me, but you know what's happened. Obviously, we can put our video from last week down, like in the here
Yes.
or the links or whatnot. There was a lot of, hullabaloo that happened last week. But this week, best believe there is so much stuff that has happened as of, what's today's date? The 22nd of March?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
hot off the heels of us recording last week, there was all this hullabaloo on Twitter where everyone was saying there was TikToks and tweets saying that, the Royal Palace has put the British media on notice because there's going to be some big announcement. And I was the boo-boo, the fool that was constantly on Twitter refreshing. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? And none of that transpired into anything. And it's just very interesting to see that, I guess, this notion of TikTok, anybody that has said anything on TikTok is now purported as like a source, right? And so it's nice to see, the news literate people that are saying like, who's your sources? And it's like, unfortunately, it's just Twitter at the moment or it's TikTok. But I just thought that would be interesting to say in light of, last week's discussion. So there's that. So we're all still like, basically we're waiting for the rising of Kate after Easter because that's when she's supposed to come back. We'll see what happens,
like Jesus.
Right? But meanwhile, a whole lot of other stuff has happened. Everyone thought that King Charles was dead. They thought that was going to be the announcement. Then lo and behold, the Daily Mail released a picture, and all the tweets were saying, King Charles, you'll know if I'm dead or alive. Like, I won't hide behind that. So there's probably some pew-pew in between the royal family as well and whatnot. But he's all well and good, apparently, so good on him. Then randomly, Barack Obama comes into Downing Street to visit. What's the Prime Minister's name?
Albanese.
No. The British Rishi.
Oh yeah, Rishi Sunak.
Yeah. So there was all this, again, hullabaloo. I'm going to keep saying hullabaloo of is it because like King Charles has died, so they're gonna make William the king? But then in light of all of this drama, we're not gonna give it to him because he's been bad too. Because apparently domestic violence, allegations with Kate, and therefore they're gonna put Prince George, but he can't be king because he's only 5. So then they put like a regent in place, and then that could have been that could have been Harry, but then he didn't say no. It's crazy the amount of like vitriol and just like wild theories that happen on the internet. But anyway, that's also happening. Then the Chumleys are also in trouble with the Chinese because in all of their, Vanity Fair, architecture, digest photo shoots that they've had that's on the internet now, apparently they've stolen, they've got a lot of antiquities and furniture that are from the Qing dynasty, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And now the Chinese are going to come for them. And then obviously the piece de resistance that happened was TMZ, again, recorded some footage of what is alleged to be Princess and Prince of Wales, William and Kate, walking from a farm shop and buying some stuff. But it is crazy, the stark analysis that everyone's saying, oh, Kate's all of a sudden like changed her face in 2 weeks because she's much thinner now. She's also taller now in comparison to the height of William. And there's a whole lot of, theories that, again, they're using like doubles
Or lookalikes.
And then, there's all like everyone's trying to find all these lookalikes and, what are their actual jobs and how do they come into this place?
Okay,
it's a whole lot of crazy stuff. This is rapid round, man.
Yeah, but that's
Hullabaloo is
There's
real.
a hullabaloo everywhere. So that's it. Let's see what happens next week.
We'll
I'm
see.
kind of hoping it's just going to die down a bit and we wait till
Or else you're going to have to whip out the board again.
Oh.
My gosh. All right. Final topic. It was alleged earlier this week that they had found the next James Bond, which was rumored to be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I don't even know who that guy was.
Yes, he is. He's the one in Bullet Train.
Bullet Train, yeah, I always
in
say
Tenet.
that now. I always say Bullet Train rather than what you call it, Quicksilver. And
Because he only lasted in one
I've
movie.
retracted that. Like, apparently it's not confirmed.
well,
Yeah.
again, this is like what was
Rumored.
the leak?
Okay.
What's the leak? Who leaked it?
Let's assume it was a yes. Yay, nay. Do we like him? Yeah.
I could see it because I've heard rumors that they're going for a younger James Bond this time.
Right.
I mean, he is Pom. That's
Yeah.
like the bare minimum, or at least within the UK.
He's blonde.
Yes.
Is he?
Well, he can be both.
He
But
he can rock many
can rock
looks.
both, but
I
yeah.
think naturally he's not blonde.
Yeah, he has like a deep enough voice,
Anyway,
to get the
let's
James
all
Bond
pick-
persona.
Let's all pick our James Bonds who we want it to be. So
Oh.
I'll pick Tom Hardy.
Oh, I could see it. I can see it.
Be a
Yeah,
rougher Bond.
a rougher, more gruff one.
Yeah, what has
yes.
he been doing lately?
Whatever,
Other than just reading children's books and whatnot.
He's
He's a
preparing
good
for
one.
Venom.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, Tom
oh
Hardy.
yeah,
Venom,
that's
The
right.
Last
Who's yours?
Dance.
Who's yours?
I'll
no,
go.
don't
I'll go
tag.
for you then while you're thinking. One of the front runners that I was following, Richard Madden. Well, especially because
Yeah, he needs something.
both
Both of them need something. But
because
yeah, he needs
Citadel
something.
was kind of like his audition tape,
thingy.
except Rob Stark.
Good
But
hair. Good hair.
but like he can do it without the god awful American accent he had in Citadel.
Isn't he Welsh? Sorry.
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
He's Scottish, but he's still within the UK. He can do action.
Looks good in a suit. Yeah.
So
agree.
I believe he could do it.
I want the haircut.
He was one of the front runners
Go on,
that
go
I
on.
think he could do it.
Who you got? Don't overthink
Who you
this.
backing?
I'm gonna go wild.
Here you go.
Okay.
Harry Styles.
Oh my God.
Can you
You-
imagine?
You've immediately dismissed your vote. That was
No, that's
yes.
satirical, right?
Yes,
because
yes.
you're thinking of like, okay, youth.
What about
Young.
Hiddleston?
No, he's had a.
Why? Because
He's had his moment.
He's had his like no. He's gonna go back into Night Manager. He's probably gonna do Loki again.
But
Let's be
Night
real.
Manager is close to like the
Yeah,
vibe
that
is
was
the
really
same.
good, but-
really good too.
I
I feel like it has to be a much
at least
younger.
mid-30s.
Oh, I
'cause
was yeah.
Early 30s, mid-30s, because, well, Hiddleston's 40 something now.
Yeah. He's got a
Um,
baby now.
Yes,
You know.
because that's why I was like, Richard Madden at least. He's only like 35, 36, so he could
I
do
think
a
they'll
couple
still
of
there.
movies.
I think they'll do someone unknown like on
A
the
little
come-
more
on the come up.
lower profile.
Yeah,
Yes.
get him on the cheap too.
So that to boost up their profile.
Dev
Because
Patel, Slumdog Millionaire.
oh,
Let's get an ethnic one.
that would
I
be
would love it. Don't
that
get
would
me
be
wrong.
amazing.
I would love it. Don't get me wrong.
Daniel Radcliffe. Can you imagine that?
Well, he has range. You never know.
Range. Who else?
You
Who
never
else we
know.
I
got?
don't even know any of these young blokes.
What did you Google? You actually
British
said
actors
young.
under 30. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What about Daniel Kaluuya?
Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, that would
yeah.
be great,
No,
but
I
no, it
can't
won't.
see it.
But he
I
won't.
can't
He
see it.
won't.
John Boyega.
I don't know if
could work.
he's worried. He's a bit avoiding franchises since Star
Yeah,
Wars.
He's had a bad experience.
Man, no one's gonna say no to Bond. If you offer any British actor Bond, then
Will Poulter.
who's that?
Oh yeah, Luca from the Bear.
I love that you picked that. I would have gone with the kid from Where the
Where
Millers.
the Millers. I'm just going for recent.
But he's
I have to-
like the
I have
glow up is so real.
I have to cite the glowed up role.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
You know what? I like Ina's one. I think that's right.
Richard Madden?
All right.
Yeah.
You got a bit of
Richard Madden.
wearing
'Cause-
the tires. He has the look.
Nicholas Holt.
Yeah. See, you know what's a boring one? That could be a front runner. Henry Cavill. That's a bit of a boring
No,
one.
So boring.
Everyone was saying that.
That's
So
a boring one.
boring.
Not boring. Leave Henry alone, man.
So boring.
What do you gotta
He,
get Henry Cavill?
he had Superman.
Whatever.
It's gone
Let's
now.
take it
Like,
seriously.
let it
You
go.
barely- you barely have
You
Superman.
need new blood to carry
don't.
at
You
least a 4-movie,
don't.
potential 5-movie
don't.
contract.
Like, yeah, how much Daniel Craig went
Taron
through.
Egerton. Nah, maybe not.
Oh, he had Kingsman.
Yeah,
so
I know.
That's why he's kind of.
Hold on. Hold on.
No, he's too short.
People said Henry Golding.
Oh, he would be great.
He's done a bunch of action stuff,
He
so
would be
Too crazy
great.
rich
You know.
agents, I can't see.
He would be great, though.
we'll see. Like, I highly doubt it will go into an actor of color,
Yeah.
but I think they will stay within the realm of white
Keep it
male.
Keep it trad, guys. Keep it trad.
Okay. Well,
Huh?
we'll
Traditional.
keep it trad. Okay. Well, otherwise, we'll keep an eye on it if it is confirmed for Aaron Taylor Johnson or whoever else will be in the running because
Why
they.
can't it be a chick, bro?
Well, they have Lashana Lynch. She was
Well, yeah,
in the
I know.
last one. Yeah.
I know.
In No Time to Die.
Like a
Yeah.
spin-off.
Well, we'll see. Well, that's the thing that, well, quickly, yeah. Well, Daniel Craig was saying, like, you can just make a different, better role for a woman instead of just making her be Bond,
One's iconic.
you know.
Has to be a dude.
So,
Keep it trad.
In what world?
all right. We'll keep an eye on that. But otherwise, that's been episode 36. A very punchy episode, guys. We done very well. So otherwise, make sure to like, comment on the episode, subscribe, ring the bell.
Check out on our socials.
Check out the episode on Spotify. Have a listen. Check out our vlogs, you know. Otherwise, and also TikTok too. We got our stuff on there and all our shorts. But otherwise, have a good week, guys. See ya.
Bye.